fundamental experience, human experiences, is that certainly it's in British culture, and we don't talk about either the very good or the very bad, the very dark. I mean, people don't talk about happiness or love any more than they talk about death or pain. We all talk about things in the middle. I mean, you know, it's like somebody said, if there was no weather, British people would never speak to each other ever again, because all we speak about is the weather, you know. So I write about the more extreme experiences of human beings. These are what interest me, because people don't talk about them in Britain. I mean, it's impolite to talk about passion of any kind, good or bad. It's bad taste to talk about death or suffering. But equally it's bad taste to talk about sex, really. You know, for example. You can write a book about sex, for example, as long as it's a comedy, and everyone's feeling very kind of silly about it. I really like books, for example, about love or sex or romance or things where it's extreme, like amour fou, that kind of experience. It's very rare to find that done in Britain, unless it's a comedy, and then it's just a bit silly. Because I think people in industrialized or post-industrial consumer capitalist society live very artificial lives. They don't know the names of the trees on the street. You know, I would go along the street with someone and I'd say, "Oh, that linden tree is beautiful." And say, "Which one's a linden?" Or, you know, talking about things to do with the natural world, how to feed yourself. And I mean, most people from anywhere I've ever been in the United States, Europe, if they were left out in a field somewhere and they couldn't go home to the kitchen, they wouldn't last very long. They wouldn't know what to eat or how to keep themselves warm, you know. So I got myself a job in computing, got myself a little place to live in a small town in Surrey, near London. Looked after the garden and went to had dinner with the neighbours. That's awful. And those kinds of things. Talked to the guy next door about his taste in wine, which was terrible, and his job as working for the British Aeronautical, wherever it was. And, you know, perfectly nice people, but not the kind of people that I was used to. But of course it was very patronising of me thinking this was normal life. And soon, in my attempt to live a normal life, all kinds of strange, abnormal things were happening. And I was feeling a little bit disappointed with this because I thought people would all be very, you know, predictable. Because you start working in an office and you find out what people are like in office and all the politics and the affairs and the underlying violence. And the end of it all was it kind of culminated in one of my sort of a fellow worker, but somebody that fellow worker introduced me to, asked me, had I ever seen the film Strangers on a Train? And I said, yeah, sure, everyone's seen that film. And he said, well, you know, that was the perfect idea. Two complete strangers, one of them kills for, you know, etc. And they exchange murders, but nobody can trace them because they have no link. And I said, yeah, okay, it's not really what I thought Hitchcock had in mind. But he said, you know, we could do that. And I thought he was joking, really, to begin with. That if you kill my wife, I'll kill someone. You tell me and I'll kill someone for you. And I said, and I want to kill anybody. Unless you can kill, you know, Margaret Thatcher, whoever it was, John H., whoever it was at the time. I don't really want any dead. And I still think he's joking, but it became more and more obvious that he would like to do this. That me, I kill his wife, and he does some favour for me. This was absolutely, in the end I realised this guy was absolutely serious. And I said, why don't you just divorce if you're not happy? And he said, I don't want her to have my things. I work for these things, and if we separate, she gets some and I don't get to keep all. And I said, well, that's fair, sure. He said, no, she could get my fridge. I said, your fridge? Yeah, he just didn't want her to have his fridge. It was his fridge. And it was serious. And so in this normal life, suddenly you realize that people who are seemingly living a normal life are actually living some of them are living very strange lives.